Hey guys, today I'm going to take you on a tour of our garden and show you what we are growing this spring. So this is our main garden where we grow most of our food.
Yeah.
One of the main foods we cook with year round is garlic. We like to use it on steak or in curries, basically with any protein that we cook with. And we also use it when we're making basil pesto, along with our basil. Not only is it so tasty, but it's really good for you. We like to spread them out and grow them on the edges of our gardens to deter pests from our other plants. I have a bunch of little basil seedlings here as well. And once they're all established, I'm going to put the pots around various places in our garden, as well as around our bar to keep the mosquitoes away. We usually eat heaps of salads over the summer, so this year we've just gone all out with lettuces. We usually just grow these mixed lettuces, but this year we're also giving iceberg lettuce a try. This is the first time I've grown lettuce in this garden bed here under the tree, and I'm really happy with how they're going. I think just being in the partial shade, they're faring a lot better with the heat, whereas some of these ones over here in the full sun have gone to seed already because they got too hot before I took the greenhouse cover off. And as you can see over here we have some zucchini. They're really nice just fried up on their own. They're also really good chopped up and mixed in with some mince or a creamy chicken dish. It's taken us a couple of seasons to get the hang of growing carrots, but this year we are growing 3 raised garden beds of them and they're looking really good. In these 2 tires here we grow potatoes. These will be our Christmas ones, but later on I will show you where we grow the bulk of our potatoes. Just behind the potatoes there you can see our bathtub full of strawberries. My girls love picking the strawberries. We just have to keep them covered, otherwise the birds get to them. So in these 3 back tyres behind me, we are currently growing coriander. In the winter, we like to grow things like spinach and bok choy in them. The tyres are really good for growing stuff in the cooler months because they keep the soil nice and warm. This year we have gone completely all out with growing tomatoes and capsicums. So we have this raised garden bed of tomatoes and capsicum, then we have another raised garden bed of capsicum over by the Glasshouse where we are growing more tomatoes and tomatoes scattered around in other areas as well. So we also have this little mandarin tree here. We've had it for 1 season already, which we got a couple of nice mandarins off. It was originally in our yard by the lemon tree over that way behind me, but it didn't do so well. It had the chickens coming up and scratching up the roots and it just wasn't very happy there. So we put it in the pot and it's much happier. In these little pots here I'm also growing some cucumbers. And over here I am trying out growing some melons. So we'll see how those go. So just outside of our yard we have these blueberry bushes here. There are 3 of them. There's 2 big ones and 1 little one at the back. These big ones were just given to us earlier this year in the autumn, but they must be a couple of years old. And the little one we got last year. So yeah, that's the blueberries, and across this way we have our raspberries, some little raspberry canes there. We've had those raspberry canes for 1 season. And down this way over here we also are growing potatoes behind me there. This is our smaller patch. We like to harvest this one and our bigger one in January, and we're also going to try put in a second lot as well. So behind me here is the main place where we grow our peas. It usually works pretty well, but this year I just sowed, chucked the bird netting over and forgot about them. And come harvest time, instead of climbing up the trellis, they climbed up the bird netting. So yeah, not great. They're all kind of on the ground, some even got ripped out, but that's a lesson learnt. So this here is our glasshouse and herb garden area. Here in our herb garden we have rosemary, parsley, coriander, and this mint that was here when we moved in. This is also where I planted the rest of the capsicum. So this glass house we basically just use for tomatoes over the summer. We don't use it for anything else really. It doesn't get much sun in the winter, and having our other one over in the yard, we just simply don't need to use this one during the winter. I've also just put some tomatoes here outside of the glass house as well. It's a nice sheltered spot for them here, and it's sunny over the summer months. Dad is really into making wine, so we leapt at the opportunity to buy some of these bigger grapevines from an ex-vineyard earlier this year in autumn, and the same week we also got given some of these smaller ones too. We also have a couple of feijoa trees that Dad likes to make wine with. Back there under the netting we have a bunch of different currants and a blackberry bush as well. Those were given to us the same time with the grapes in autumn. So this area behind me here is actually an overflow for the river that runs alongside our house, but it only ever fills up maybe twice a year. The soil is so rich from the composting leaves, so we thought we would give it a try growing broccoli and cauliflowers in here. Now unfortunately we did get aphids infesting our plants before I could realise, so a lot of the heads I had to cut off. They were unusable. But since treating them, I'm starting to see some new heads grow, so I'm hopeful that we will still get to harvest a few more. Last year was a bit of a fail for us for pumpkins, so this year we are trying them in several different spots, one of which being right next to the broccoli and cauliflowers here in the drainage ditch. My husband and I also just moved these ones here just the other night because they weren't very happy in their original spot. So fingers crossed for a successful harvest because we love eating pumpkins. I think most of us could eat them pretty much every day. We were super lucky to also be given a bunch of peach trees earlier this year too. So this is where I'm trialling corn for the first time. You can see them just starting to poke through now. Wasn't expecting it to have a bit more sun throughout the day. That's okay, it's still really sunny in the morning and the corn seems to be doing fine, so I'm still hopeful that we'll get a harvest. This is our big potato patch. This big mound of soil was here when we moved in. The soil is super soft and probably full of nitrogen from all the pine needles, so the potatoes tend to grow really well here. So far we haven't been able to grow enough potatoes to not need to buy them from the supermarket as well, but it is so good growing our own potatoes. They taste so delicious, and we're hoping that if we can do a second lot of them before the autumn, then that will give us a good lot. If you liked that video, you might like this one here.